You've got mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edman, your host for the next couple hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Is it that time already?
Yep. And Katie's here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And there's a gal, too.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, another week went by.
It did. And it's been cold outside.
Damn. Yeah, there's another word for it.
Can you see that? Can you see this?
Oh,
Yeah?
your fingers.
Those are
What'd
my
you do?
cracked fingertips
Oh, Lord.
from the cold. I suffer from this every winter when I was out doing a
Sheesh.
community thing yesterday morning, cleaning up a park, and I even with the hot pads in my gloves, my fingertips were still numb. I just wore bad
Then you
gloves.
should stop going out when the weather is like
No,
that.
I
That's
I
the
changed
thing.
my strategy. I took the pads out and put them in my pocket, so I put one hand in the pocket at a time to rewarm my fingertips.
You could always chop your hands off.
That's good. That would work.
Yeah.
That would solve
Yeah.
the
Put
problem.
send more blood to the rest of my body.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my non-medical advice.
That was the weather has been deceptively bad, but also nice at the same time because it's so sunny out that just like standing in the sun outside is nice, except the wind hits you and you feel like you're gonna die. So the two-prong attack.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Damn Southerners.
So-
21 degrees Fahrenheit. How much is that in Celsius? That's too low. Yeah. Not for humans, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not fun. No, it's not, definitely not. So anything to open with? Yeah, anybody has something that happened this week?
I
There was-
ordered a Vision Pro on Amnon's credit card.
Okay. That's why they called me. I didn't answer.
You didn't authorize the $3,500
No,
payment.
I would, but I mean, I
okay.
just want to know.
Did you guys happen to see it was this morning on Signal, but I found a post where I had 700 Teslas got
Yeah.
together in Israel to do for the remaining hostages. They did
Light show.
an event, a light show with the Teslas.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it just now. And I gotta say, as an Israeli, I love it when people come together and do something like this. We did something like this last week in Chapel Hill, getting together, talking about this. But this one has a bit of poor taste in.
I
In
think
that.
I felt the same way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just would.
I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't see anything other than maybe 2 or 3 scenes that were really coordinated. The rest of it was like, you know,
Yeah, I
I
mean-
wasn't impressed with the quality, but it's nice that people got together. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's nice that they get together, but then again, compared to what we're dealing with right now, right, and what the Palestinians understand me, I do not see a way out of this war.
Nobody
and I
does.
hate
I
it.
don't think anybody does.
Well, I mean, it's sure that everybody that's talking about the politics they want to see it stop, right?
Yep.
But
And
um,
it's affecting us here, and it probably will more in the future as far as all the corruptions around the world and the politics around the world. I mean, it's going to make things are going to get worse before they get better. any way you
Well,
look
you
at
can
it.
thank Iran for all of this.
Yeah.
And now
Probably.
the Houthi rebels are bombing cargo ships in the
Yeah.
Gulf of Aden and in the Red Sea,
Yeah.
creating
They received
havoc.
they received a stern letter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to speak to your manager, please.
All right. So here is an interesting article here. Plex,
Oh,
known for its media server software and as a place to watch ad-supported content, is going to
wow,
launch. Huh?
that's a pretty good description.
Yeah. Is going to launch a store to buy and rent movies and TV shows in early February.
That makes
Executives
sense.
told Lopez. Most studios are lined up for the store launch, and there are plans to complete the catalog soon after. The store will also integrate with Plex features like its watch list for movies. Rodgers points out that Plex has announced plans in both 2020 and 2023 to launch a movie slash TV store. Hopefully, Plex is truly ready to do so this time. Plex chief product officer told Reuters that more changes are coming to Plex down the line, including a pretty major UX refresh and more social features like public profile.
Yeah, making viewing more social. I get that. I think the first of all, um, I see no problem with that, right? With that specific step. My question is, as a Plex user uh, and one that paid for their lifetime subscription,
Yeah, yeah.
is so the biggest question is, right, is are they going to keep maintaining the personal media side of the server? If they keep on doing that, then do whatever they want, right? Sell me content through the platform. That's that's a great addition, but keep supporting the local and personal media, right? And if they'll start cleaning out those features, that is going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem to a lot of users who have paid to use that software specifically for that use.
Mm-hmm. I don't think. I
That's
don't.
the only
Yeah.
concerning thing, because up until now there is no such platform that does both, right? Uh, there isn't. It's
What
just
what happened to the one that you were going to switch to? What was it?
Jellyfin.
Jellyfin.
It's still around. It's still
And
around. I mean, it's getting better and better. It's not as convenient. And if you've already paid for Plex,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
and you're already in, if you're just starting out, I would say, yeah, don't bother with Plex yet unless you really want some features that Jellyfin can give you. But if you're already in the Plex ecosystem and you have users using Plex, yes, stick with it. I mean, it works, right? It works and it works pretty well.
yeah.
And it is more convenient than Jellyfin with some of the aspects, not with everything, with some, definitely.
I was every now and then I use the HD Home Run app on the TV, and they changed it in such a way that it's really unfriendly to use. You used to get in and you used to see the channels and you switch between them and all that. Every time I do it now, and I don't do it often, I have to go around and around and around. You don't know what is highlighted, which option is highlighted. You have to go up and down and see where, oh, this is now, yeah, I'm on this. And then you have to figure out how to, it's just a mess. And I don't know, Nick, do you use the HD home run or you use it all through Plex?
No, I don't use any of it anymore since I've had 3 of them get popped by lightning. I haven't had an HD home run in
Oh,
about 4 months now.
so how are you watching your live TV?
YouTube TV.
Okay. Hmm.
I did have my Plex server is not very powerful. It's got limited resources available.
Mhm.
So I did have some issues with some transcoding of live TV, and when that would happen, I would use the HD Home Run app, and it wasn't the most user friendly app, um, but I never had any serious issues with it. Wasn't as nice as the Plex interface.
No, it's not. That's maybe that's the problem then,
I think that it, yeah,
Yeah,
but
I'm actually dreading the news of a new UX change, right? Because
yeah, me too.
it's gonna mean it's basically means change that nobody asked for, and there's probably no way to revert it.
You know,
So
but it makes sense, right? I mean, Plex has now is in the process of transitioning from the uh nerd techie user base to the general consumer with their offerings that they have, and then um now with the selling things. So I get why they're trying to streamline that interface.
maybe,
They're gonna have
maybe.
to.
Yeah, I don't
Because if
think
you
there's anything complex about the UI right now if all you're doing is consuming their content.
it is it gets a little weird um when you if you just watch without an account. I don't notice it, but if you have a Plex account, which obviously you're going to need one if you're going to be buying content, it's still set up as if you are connecting to a server. um it just I don't know. Yeah, I'm it's definitely not as user friendly as something like Netflix, where everything is categorized in a different way. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I'm perfectly happy with the current interface, but I can understand them trying to look like Disney Plus or Netflix or Amazon Prime instead of all, pictures and photos and music and movies and TV and all that stuff, which still shows up even um even if you're just logged into an account without a server associated with it.
Maybe. Oh,
So,
we're gonna brace ourselves.
well, we'll wait and see. Maybe they'll surprise us.
yeah,
They will surprise us.
Yeah,
That's
one
for
way or
sure.
another, right.
They'll be knocking on your door at midnight with a bill. Say, here,
Yeah, exactly.
would you like
Yeah.
to continue? I
All
was
right.
just looking for fun. I was just looking at the latest over the air DVRs. Who's doing what? It's a flaky market. Recast isn't even mentioned.
oh, Amazon's recast?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Old
kind of
hat. Yeah.
fallen off the wayside. I mean, they still support it, and I think you can still buy. I don't even know if you can still buy a new one. You might have to buy them used.
Mine's still working. I just have to. I have my Sunday night Sunday night reset with my smart plug on it
Yeah,
because it will.
I do need to get another HD home run. I need to find a sufficient grounding solution for all of my antennas, which I currently don't have.
A 10-foot ground rod
Yeah.
driving into the ground.
I'm either going to do that or try to connect it to the power panel.
You
But
could use the ground.
how is that grounded?
It is grounded.
No, not necessarily. Most power panels are grounded to a ground rod.
Well,
Yeah.
outside
that's
your
what I'm
house.
saying is I want to have
Yeah.
I need to have a common ground. That's my issue. So I think I'm
Oh,
going to try
okay.
and tie directly into the ground in that. And then
Did you measure the voltage between the two available grounds to see what the difference is?
where would the other available
Well,
ground be?
Well, I mean, if you have a power panel ground, what's your other ground? You saying you have
Uh,
two grounds?
no, I'm saying if I drive my own rod and,
Oh,
and connect
yeah.
my antennas with that, I could
Yeah,
have a
that
different
because
ground
you have the
differential.
potential through the ground to see
Sure,
how connected
exactly.
the ground is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I only have one main ground right now.
I've read stories about people that run a cable out to a remote building on their property, and you can you can measure voltage across the ground, like
Yeah.
30 volts, 40 volts, because
Mhm.
of the how poor the grounding is. Yeah, it's got to be careful. It could blow stuff up.
When I was playing around with CBs back 30 years ago, whatever, and I had all these antennas, I put a ground rod under the big antenna, and it was connected with, like, I don't know, 1 gauge. I mean, a real stiff, like a 1/4 inch copper wire, so to speak. It wasn't a wire, it was.
Cable.
And then I needed one in the backyard, and I just went ahead and put another one there. And they weren't connected together. It was just for another antenna that was in the backyard.
And it was for
And
lightning strikes.
yeah, it was just for lightning.
Yeah.
But you have a problem
Eh,
with that because your equipment that you have in
Yeah.
your house that's plugged in is
Yeah.
not the same ground, and that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could probably drive a ground rod and be fine, um, but my power panel is fortunately right next to both of my antennas, so I think I can just easily punch a little, punch a little hole into it and run some.
Absolutely. That's
Try
what
to
I ended
try to
up.
figure out.
I don't know. The last time I checked, the ground on the backyard and the front yard are connected. No.
No, there's a
Hopefully.
wall, an underground seawall.
That's what I was saying. See if you can actually visually see how the panel is grounded. See where it goes and what it connects to. It might connect to a water pipe. You have city water?
Uh, yeah, municipal water. Yeah.
Yeah, so that probably connects to that. If it's, I don't have, I have a
every
plastic pipe delivering city water, so I can't ground to it.
every I mean, when we were doing it back then and you really wanted to find out on if you go around and you look at those uh power poles, the wooden power poles.
Everything's underground.
No, I mean, no, not here.
Oh,
If it's underground, there you can't find out, but it is grounded. I'm talking about
sure.
the poles. The poles all have a wire going down to ground.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
Yeah, but
later
that's
on,
Amnon. That's stealing ground.
yeah,
That's
that's
not.
stealing
Come
ground.
on.
It's like
But
stealing satellite TV.
but the thing is, I did away with all the ground rods, and I ran a a ground rod, so not a ground rod, but one of those cables from the neutral out where I did not have 3 prongs, and it was one ground, which is the power company, and that works. But I have the best ground rod and lightning arrestor. The best one is right here at the house. There's
What, the
nothing.
cell phone tower next to you?
Yep.
Yeah, the tractor. You can
Yeah.
watch video of the lightning heading for Amnon's house. It makes a 90-degree turn and goes over
I
his
have
house.
seen lightning turn. Last week, the Duke Energy Power guy came over. I signed in for, like, come and take a look at the house and what we have, and tell me if there's anything I can change to serve energy, to conserve energy, and all that. So they came last Saturday, and it was very interesting. I mean, he went everywhere, took pictures with thermal and all that. He said, you look okay. The only thing is, he was saying, you can save about $88 on the computers that are on all the time. You can save about $60 if you do this to the water heater, and But the bottom line was,
$60 a year.
no, a month.
Month.
What?
Ah, Don't
No,
buy
Not
it.
a chance in hell you could change something on your water heater and save $60 a month.
well, I don't know if the 60 was. I mean, I remember 60 and 88, and and we have four, so to speak, refrigerators. One is a freezer, and then three refrigerators. He said, "Yep, if you lower it here, or if you do away with one, you'll save. I mean, a bunch." And yeah, our bill every month since I started the studio and the internet and all that is about $500 a month. So I don't. It. He was saying, if you look at the graph, you can see that you're not going up and down and up and down. It's all year. It's kind of leveled, even though it's going up and down a little bit. But that means that you're using the same kind of electricity all the time. And but the bottom line is, we were outside, and he was asking me if I have surge protection, and I said, "Yep, I just got one from you guys that you installed it on the meter, a whole house surge protector." But I said, "But then I think I may do away with it." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because if you turn around and look over there, you'll see that tower." So he said, "Oh, you have a cell tower? Yeah, this is the best thing to have."
Yeah, well, my neighbors probably feel the same way about me. They're like, "Oh, look at my house can't get struck by lightning because this jackass has
This
got
check. Yep,
antennas all over the damn place."
yep, and it's true.
Oh, I know. Believe me.
I've seen, because of all the construction here, I have seen in two places. One of them was where that tower was. There was something like a dumpster standing on its side right down there. And but it was real thick metal. I mean, I'm talking maybe 2, 3 inches thick. And I went and I asked one of the guys, I said, what are you gonna do with this? He said, "Oh, this is our ground." They bury it way down, and that's their ground rod,
Oh,
but
A
it's
lightning
huge.
arrestor. It's called a lightning arrestor.
I guess. I mean, but it looked just like a dumpster. I thought they put a dumpster to put the dirt in, but then no, it's not. It's real thick.
I'm trying to think of
Very common at towers.
what would
Yeah.
they need? What is are there any active components in it, or is just a bunch of
And
coils or things that would
and where in
absorb?
that thing? No, it's just
Yeah,
a piece of metal.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's just to have better conduction, I guess.
yeah. So it's just. I mean, because a ground rod it's okay, but and it works, but if you get hit, direct hit, it can do real damage to to the ground rod and to the ground. I
That's the
remember,
thing that
uh,
people don't understand, that lightning can jump across stuff.
yeah,
You
but
have
no,
a surge protector, it could be
Katie,
fried.
before I think
If you get a direct hit, you're toast.
this is before you were born, Katie.
Mm.
But in the first house that your mom lived in, up there on up Strickland, the lightning hit, and it ran on the ground. You could see like it dug a ditch and hit a tree and split it.
Wow,
Yeah, Randy
that sounds
was
scary.
wow. So yeah, it's not fun, but it's good to have. If you have antennas, yeah, it's good to have.
It's not good. It's absolutely necessary.
Yeah,
You'll be just constantly destroying all your equipment
and
like me.
if you go out in the on the countryside and you look at houses, some of these houses have like a cage. You will see that along the roof peak there are spikes.
Air
Maybe,
tubes.
huh?
Call them air tubes.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I,
something like that. Yeah.
and it goes, and they're all hooked together, and they go down, and then it goes into a ground rod, and apparently, and I still don't understand it, why lightning will hit the top of a pole that is sharp, sharp end versus one that is like flat end?
It has to do with I have zero ability of explaining it.
Okay,
I
never mind.
follow a guy.
Yeah.
I follow an electrician, electrical engineer
Yeah.
that plays out with arcs and stuff like
Ooh,
that.
Electro Boom.
He's awesome. So yeah, I've been following him since maybe he had, I don't know, 10,000 followers.
Yeah.
So uh, and uh, and the latest series of his videos in the past year or so is exactly about how these arcs are jumping from. It has to do. It always has to do with extremities, with the smallest point they can
Yeah.
go out of.
Makes no
So
sense,
yeah.
does it?
It
Each of
has
those,
there's some rules around it. I do not understand them, but
and
they're
each
there.
little rod is spaced a certain distance apart because it creates a cone of protection below it, basically a Faraday cage. So it's like if you when you build it out, I actually had a guy come and do a quote for me at the house when two houses in my neighborhood were hit and caught fire. I was
Oh.
like, maybe I need to do something. So I had a guy come out and he says, you run it across. If you have I have a hip roof all the way around, so it wasn't really suitable for what they were talking about because you need to go out to the edges of the house. But it creates a virtual, like inverted cone Faraday cage below each of those points on the ground wire. And the ground wire is this gigantic braided aluminum piece of wire goes down to the ground.
Yeah. So it's it's something. If you have antennas out, or if you live in an area that, like, your house is in the middle of a clearing, I mean a big clearing, and it's all flat, that house is going to get hit again and again. Being around, having trees also helps because the lightning will hit the trees. But even
Yeah,
though we
well,
have a bunch of what?
I said, well, it still likes my stuff. There's plenty of damn trees
Yeah, well,
around here. It still
I know.
chooses me.
It was still hitting us before the cell tower, even though we have a lot of huge trees. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
It's all about the quickest way to ground.
Yep.
That's what lightning is trying to do.
Yep. And you can't blame it. It's in a hurry. It has to go somewhere else too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always in a hurry. I'm trying to find my quickest way to ground always.
It's got things to do, people to see,
Yeah.
Exactly.
People to
houses to
hit,
strike.
people to
Yeah.
zap.
It
Yeah.
has it has absolutely no social conscience whatsoever.
No.
That's a fact.
It's a equal opportunity destroyer. Of
I
property.
mean, it has some kind of bias because it keeps hitting Nick, so maybe it just likes you. It's attracted to you.
Well, it's just like tornadoes only hit trailer parks.
Yep.
As they say, which is of course not true, but
And lightning never strikes twice.
All right.
no,
Yeah, it
that's
does.
bullshit. I can absolutely tell you that is absolute bullshit.
Well, unless you put lightning rods like antennas to
No.
draw them in.
Well,
Yeah, no, it strikes twice, especially when you buy a new HD home run off eBay.
That's it.
And it loves to strike again.
I love there's a video you can watch of the researchers that launch rockets into lightning storms to deliberately attract them. And then they make all kinds of measurements and studies about it. It's fascinating what they do. They take just,
they fly a
guess they're not,
kite.
yeah, yeah, but they can only use it once.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the idea is just to launch a rocket with a thin cable on it, which creates the ground and the lightning comes. It's
Mhm.
fascinating to watch the high-speed cameras because they show a lightning strike is not just one strike. It's like 4 or 5 pulses going up and down.
Well, many times in those slow motions, you'll actually see that the lightning starts from the ground.
Yes, and goes up. You see
Goes
these,
up.
yeah, they see the like ghost tubes going up from
Mhm.
the ground trying to
Yeah.
attract. Well,
Yeah,
look
it's
up
pretty
sometime
amazing.
if you like to get into this stuff. Look up sprites. Sprites are the above the atmosphere version of when lightning strikes. So something actually goes up into the upper atmosphere.
Hmm.
And a high altitude research plane actually discovered them about 20 years ago. They had no idea they existed. And they saw them on the top of clouds from lightning storms, these little sprites that go up. It's really cool.
one quick thing on
Yeah.
on this, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting, and obviously there's a reason for it, but these devices like the HD Home Run, um, they are not grounded devices, and I think there's probably a good reason for that. Um, Maybe to not create a separate ground and try and protect it. You're inherently would think, oh, well, this should be something that's grounded, but I guess not.
Well, they're DC, the devices themselves, right?
Yeah, but yes, they are
Yeah, I mean,
DC,
yeah,
but I think where it hits it is where the antenna is outside on a
but that's
pole.
why I'm wondering. The power supply for those is only two pronged. There is no ground. I mean,
Oh,
obviously, it's an AC to DC adapter. I
well,
just found that kind of
you
Ah,
can
interesting.
but it's internal to. So what gets fried is the power supply, probably,
It's
no?
not the power supply.
no.
So it's coming from the antenna.
Correct, and I wonder if that's why they don't have it grounded, so that hopefully, if there's no, if there's no ground on it, maybe it just runs right through it and finds ground somewhere else. I mean, that would be the goal, but in my experience, that has not worked.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you
that's an
can
interesting point. Like the sounds like what you need to do is pass the antenna right through some surge protector to.
I just need to attach the mast of the antenna to ground, which I
right,
can easily do.
exactly. Yep,
So,
yep.
do you
All right.
you want to do specials or you got something else?
I mean, I always have something else, but we can do specials.
Okay.
Specials.
Gal is going to have to take the open here as it is
Oh, you put
his
it on? That's
I
awesome.
did. I put his recommendation in for our opening graphic. So I'll let once it comes up here, I'll let Gal take it away. What are we looking at here?
So it's one of the recent XKCD comics, and it's a forum where people are saying, "I'm having this problem too. None of the posted fixes work. Same. So frustrated. I'm still having this. Did you ever figure it out? Same problem as everyone. I tried the steps in here and here and here with links and all that. And then at the end, same. Can't believe this thread is 5 years old now. And then, where does everyone live? Do we want to get a beach house for a weekend or something?"
Like any good
Sometimes
tech
I
thread.
really feel that that should be a conclusion of some of these threads. This is so at some point you just have to give up of fixing the bug and embrace the fact that you have a dozen of new friends.
There you
Uh,
go.
So wholesome.
yeah.
Very wholesome.
Neat.
All right, let's do it. Um, let's start off at Best Buy this morning. There's a Lenovo IdeaPad 3i. This is a 15.6-inch laptop, so this is a bit of a bigger one, and it does have a full numpad on it. So not the not that it's not portable. It's slim, it's light, but it's a large computer at 15.6 inches. It's running a Core i5 1155 G7, 8 gigs of RAM. You can easily add another stick to it. Not complicated to do at all. There's a DIMM. You just buy compatible RAM and slot it in. You're good to go. On sale for $349.99. Save $280 over at Best Buy.
Wow.
Next up,
Hmm.
this is a Pioneer 65-inch 4K UHD smart TV and the smart TV is actually powered by Zumo, which I believe they're making hardware boxes now. I think some cable company is offering them. It might be
Spectrum.
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 Okay. Yeah, so they're offering the Zumo stream boxes. So this has got it built in. Um, Most people will add a Roku or Fire Stick or something like that. $299, save $200. It's a Pioneer. It's not the creme de la creme. That's available over at Best Buy.
Did you
Next,
see?
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you see the story about how they're going to offer ATSC 3 now? The tuner, you can get an individual tuner coming out, but the built-in are going to be happening this year.
HD Home Run already has one. I'm glad I
Yeah.
didn't buy the last one. I was going to splurge and buy the ATSC 3.0 one last time. I'm glad I didn't. Well, yeah, I've got some ATSC stuff. Maybe I can bring in next week.
That'd be cool. Yeah, see stuff.
Or the week after. It's pretty neat.
Yes.
Next up, here is a Echo Show 8 I believe that's 8 inch, I think is what the determination in there. This is the third gen. This is a 2023 release. It's normally $150 and it's on sale for 90. This is a smart this is the an A word with a screen on it. You can uh look at things, you can even watch things and video chat and stuff like that. So pretty cool device if you've got a use case for it. That's
Yeah, and
available, of course.
if you have a camera that says that it supports a word or G word, a word, then you can tell it to show it, or
Mhm.
when somebody rings the doorbell, it'll show in it. So, yeah,
It's pretty cool. Yeah, $90 available over at Amazon.
Also,
Um,
too, I bought one over Christmas time, and they were on sale for $50. So if you don't need it right away, but you're interested, and you want to wait a year, you can get it for 50.
yeah, there'll be some these Amazon products always kind of dip in price around Prime Day and stuff like that. Next up here, this is a 8-port gigabit PoE switch, power over Ethernet. If maybe you're looking at installing some cameras in your house, Ubiquity cameras or something like that, you're going to need power for those. And yes, you can buy individual PoE injectors. Not necessarily the best solution. You can get one of these switches for $60 and it'll deliver not only gigabit Ethernet, but then also power your devices. 62 watts is the max power output on this. With obviously, you're only going to have 7 things connected. You're not, one port's got to be your internet going into the switch.
Mhm.
Um, Save $40 or 40% over at Amazon. Next up here, this is a simple little device. It's a simple Ugreen USB-C Ethernet extender or Ethernet adapter, but with it, you're also getting 3 USB Type A ports. So if you need an Ethernet adapter, and it's also it could always be nice to have another USB A port or something. Who knows what might come up? That's available at Amazon for $11.69. So check that out over at Amazon. Next up, let's switch the order here. Here's an This thing is huge. This is a 60,000 milliamp hour portable power bank. This thing is a brick.
That's not a
Um,
portable.
well, it is portable. Yeah, I mean, this is
it's
this is
portable in your car, portable.
yeah, I mean, yeah, this is something that you would bring camping. This is
Yeah.
something that you would bring if you're going to a place where you're not going to have power for an extended period of time, or
Well, that
honestly, at home. Obviously, this isn't going to power your fridge or your microwave or a blender or anything like that. But definitely keeping your devices charged during a prolonged power outage. And it's got a little light built, a pretty strong light, I should say, built into it, which is pretty cool. This is available for 149 bucks, say, excuse me, $110. So you save close to 70 bucks on this, available over at Amazon. It, by the way, it does have, um, let me make sure this is correct. You can also power it with solar, so you can connect a solar panel to it as well if you're going to
Hmm.
be traveling. So that's pretty neat. Um, let's see here. These are two quick little devices. This is a 4-pack. You get 2 USB-C to USB-A's and 2 USB-A's to USB-C's. If you've got Many folks are still in a position where they're kind of jockeying back and forth between USB-A and USB-C. So having these around is not the worst idea. And for $4 or $1 a connector, it's a pretty good deal. That's available over at Amazon. Make sure you click the link in the specials for that. A couple of other quick things. Microsoft Office 2021. This is available from Groupon on the Windows side. It's 2250. On the Mac side, it's 5850. But there's only 17 hours left on both of these. So if you're going to do this, do it sooner rather than later. And then two final quick things: a Govee 100-foot RGB Bluetooth controlled light strip for a desk or an office or underglow is on sale for $13. They also sell a 65 and a half foot, and 130 foot that are on sale. So check those out. All of that is via Amazon. And then finally, I saw this from Western Digital. I might actually do this. So WD is doing an easy recycle program. So you recycle hard drives and SSDs, and they will give you a 15% off coupon for your next purchase of $50 or more. So you tell them what you're going to be returning. You can obviously you do more than one at a time. You're not like you can do a whole bunch of these and keep getting the 15% off and stack them. But if you've got some old drives that you're ready to be done with and you just don't want hanging around anymore, you send them to Western Digital and then you'll get 15% off your next purchase. So if you want to get a big drive for a NAS or a server or something like that, you can save a couple bucks, and that's available directly from Western Digital.
All right.
Yeah. They say they've recycled
Fucking
26,000 drives since April of 2020.
yeah, I don't know that I would do that because I don't want to give him a chance to find data on. And
You know, it's one of those things. It depends on what's on the drive. If
yeah,
it's a
I know.
drive from
Yeah,
an old laptop that didn't have anything on it,
yeah,
it
it's a
was
different
just a
story. Yeah,
it's different. If you've got, I tend to trust a company like Western Digital. Obviously, format the drive beforehand. If you want to really get into it, run a full formatter where it's writes ones and zeros to the entire drive. You cannot destroy the drive and then send it to them. If you
right. No,
punch a hole in it, it's not going to work.
right.
They're trying to actually recycle them. So
Oh,
there you go.
all right, then the two related stories here. One is about the voice assistant, the AU. Amazon is revamping its A voice assistant as it prepares to launch a new paid subscription plan this year. This is Business Insider reported reported this last Wednesday. But the change is causing internal conflicts and may lead to further delays, the report and added. Tentatively called A Word Plus, the paid version of the Echo is intended to offer more conversation and personalized AI technology, said one of the documents obtained by Business Insider. The team is working toward a June 30th launch deadline, and it has been testing the underlying voice technology, dubbed Remarkable AWOR, with 15,000 external customers. But the quality of the new answers is still falling short of expectations, often sharing inaccurate information. External tests have found. Then Amazon is now going through a major overhaul of the A-word technology stack to address this issue, though the team is experiencing some discord. So, who's going to pay for a subscription to the Echo?
I think what they'll find out is that not a lot of people will pay in the long run. I mean, even if let's put it this way, even if it's perfect in the
Yeah,
answers it's provide, right? Uh, I really doubt people will want to pay for what I would describe as a gimmick,
yeah, exactly.
because
That's it.
right, because eventually this is going to be in a central point of a home or an office, right?
Right?
And you'll be talking to that. uh I don't know, I mean, the functionality that is provided today by phone assistants, by the A word devices, is usable, right? But I don't think anybody is really missing a conversation, uh, uh, anybody to converse with. Uh, but maybe I'm wrong. Uh,
Ah,
I mean, they do their market research, right? and people have been surprising us for the worse and finding terrible ways of using things. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem. I mean, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here, but it doesn't seem like the right time. Okay? I'm not saying that this eventually won't be useful. Maybe if it was attached to a smart home that actually does a lot, right? If I could give it instructions, like complex instructions, and say, "Hey, when I leave the house today, make sure to close the, to make sure all of the lights are off,"
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's all I need to tell it, and it does it, right? Then yes, maybe. But if it's only about conversation and finding answers on the web or creating a poem via voice, then I say that's a gimmick. We don't need that. So that's the point that I'm saying. It's not ready yet. It's too soon.
I
Agreed.
don't
If
think I don't think you're off the mark on that. I'm predicting it's going to be a massive failure with the model they have right now. If it's the same as what they have right now and you're just switching to a subscription base and maybe it's a little bit better, people are going to drop it like crazy because it's not worth it. But then also too, they really need to step up their game and offer a better solution because other companies are doing it. Like did last weekend did we talk about Rabbit or Ribbit or whatever, that pocket AI assistant that immediately sold out? And it's like an alternative to A. The thing that A has going for it is that it could hook up to your home system. But if it's just as cumbersome as it is right now, nobody's gonna pay for that. And so I don't know if Amazon's gonna be able to deliver on that quality of life when people don't want to put up with an inconvenience and frustration, like having to yell all the time to get it to turn on the lights and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
so
and
if
I
it'll be hooked up to automation, maybe. But it doesn't seem like what they're doing.
and it seems like to me that if they say, yeah, they plus what they call is better, that means that the regular Echo is garbage.
I mean, it is kind of
Yeah,
garbage.
no. I mean, this is like them admitting,
Yeah, yeah.
because Alexa was supposed to be, yeah, oh, it's great.
What
Anyway,
happened?
Oh,
Didn't
it's
they?
great. I mean, it's great. It plays music. The speakers are decent,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
can pass controls to things that are connected to it, but none of its skills matter. Skills are the little apps that you can associate with the, right?
yeah,
None of these matter at all, right? And not only that, if you'll notice, if there was a skill that I don't know that you've installed when you first got your Echo device, uh, some of them today will only work if you actually pay, right? There's some sort of payment mechanism for apps.
oh,
Nobody wants that. Like, I doubt anybody's making money out of it. So there's something really. It was a nice idea. The execution was actually good when it came out, right? Uh, the landscape was completely barren. The only alternatives were the phone assistants, right? And those were only connected to the person and not to the home. And so, yes, back then it made sense. And so the most that you have today, the devices that you have today at homes are already interconnected to the homes somehow, or they're not being used, right? I mean, it's a glorified light switch today, but it's that, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And you will need to try and convince people, Amazon will need to try and convince people that that glorified light switch, which by the way, the device itself is going to be probably the same device, right? It's just a subscription on top of it. That glorified light switch can do a lot more. So it's not about training the devices so much as training its users.
I'll be right back.
And that's hard to do. That's very hard to do.
Yeah. Didn't what
Just
what
look at
happened to Amazon's robot? wasn't Amazon coming out with a robot a few years ago? It was like I could picture it in my head. It was like a small little rolly robot thing.
Was it
Um
Amazon?
yeah, it was Amazon. That was completely abandoned, I guess, because I haven't heard about it. Let me look on Google. Amazon
I remember a bunch
robot.
of robots. I don't remember one specific from Amazon, but
Astro.
maybe
That's what it was. It was
Astro.
Astro $1,600 robot assistant. It's a household robot for home monitoring with a word. Includes 30-day
2 years ago.
trial of Ring Protection Pro. I have
Yeah.
not heard about this since they first announced it.
Well, if you search for it in the news section of the search engines, 2 years ago is when it's discussed.
Yeah,
So nothing new about it. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
wonder if they still sell it.
yeah, well, it's I have a no, you have to request an invitation. So, no. That's something that they probably spent billions of dollars on and they're abandoning.
Well, looks like you can buy an Astro for $1,800, $1,900 on Amazon. I'm trying to see if the brand it says is Amazon. Yeah, the brand is Amazon. Definitely there. There's a subscription,
Of course
Astro
there
for
is.
Business.
Of course there is. I saw that too. I was like, what does that even mean?
Oh, there was a price drop. Before January 16, it cost 2,400.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. This is weird. I agree. The fact that there's no news about it,
Yeah, they
definitely
abandoned it.
bizarre.
There's no way. So did Umden confirm that they talked about the rabbit or not last weekend? I can't remember. I
We
know
did
I
Yeah.
was
not.
here.
Yeah, there was a story about Rabbit last week,
Was
and there was actually something that they there were just details about it this week, but I don't think I saved the.
Yeah, I jumped into a Wired article. I think it's from 2 weeks ago. I can't say I've heard about this. Seems like the interesting part of it is its language abilities.
Um, I don't. The details were not there in the story last week.
Arguably, the most interesting feature of LAMs in the R1, R1 is the
Yeah, the
Rabbit
R1.
device,
Yeah.
is an experimental teach mode which will arrive via an update later. Uh, Simply point the R1 camera at your desktop screen or phone and perform a task you'd want the R1 to learn. Da 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 da. You're essential training your own rabbits to learn how to do niche tasks you'd rather automate.
That was what
Um,
Google was trying to do when they. I remember a few months ago they came out with that AI camera thing where it could tell what you were doing by pointing it at. But then it turned out to be fake, or like
well,
they doctored
yeah,
it or
fake and
something.
not fake. So the fake part was that they showed it as if everything's happening live. Uh, what really happened in the background is they provided it with snapshots, and what they edited out was the failures.
Mm.
So not every snapshot they would give it would produce it. So when they created the scripted version that was displayed, it was impressive because it was sort of rehearsed, and only parts of that were actually happening in the background to build the script. So everything they displayed was correct. The AI did identify what they drew, but they drew it in stills. They provided in stills, so the process, right, wasn't as it's like a movie based on true events, basically something like that. There was some truth to it. It wasn't the way it was presented. And yeah, it backfired on them because the internet now sees them again as scams, right?
Hmm.
About it. I there's something about marketing as a profession, right? That adores lying and thinks that sometimes, right, when you present the lie in a certain light, it'll work. And I've never seen that to succeed.
Well, it's
Uh,
what it is it's over promising and under delivering.
yeah.
That's what it is.
I don't know. As people, we already filter out when the commercial shows us an extremely happy person. I don't know, buying tampons, right? We already we already filter out that part of the lie, right? We
Yeah.
understand that that is just code for buy this. This is good. Uh, and we have those filters inside. And when it comes to tech, when they present us with a process, right,
Mhm.
that is what they want us to believe, they should not overpromise, like you said,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
also too, it it's trying to they made a mistake in that their audience, their customers are very knowledgeable about technology and very
right,
knowledgeable about stuff. So they immediately pointed it out or diagnosed it or whatever, analyzed it. That's what I'm looking for.
yeah.
But the marketing video was the audience was geared towards the general public. Like that's they made it with that general audience in mind, which wouldn't be able to point that out, which wouldn't be able to analyze it.
But they
Uh
didn't present it to the general
I
audience,
know, I
right?
know, I
That's the
know.
thing.
And so
Yeah.
I'm in marketing and I make marketing videos. So I know exactly the mindset was like we need to appeal to the
Yeah.
general audience because they're the ones that have the money and probably get to spend all this money on stuff. But unfortunately, they angled that wrong because the people that watch the video and analyze it know what they're talking about. So
Exactly.
yes, they needed to be more transparent and less like we're gonna just like gloss over this, and then the people are like, no, 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 don't gloss over it. This is very important.
Exactly.
All right. All right.
So bottom line, all of the AIs right now, they're pretty much the same. I think that's the conclusion from the article about the A plus thing. Amnon, because the reason it won't work and the reason probably they have internal conflict right now about launching that, right, is okay. We've seen what AI is capable of doing, and we've seen what an Echo device can do, right? So you're telling me all you want to do is just may move that there, and you want us to pay? Good luck with that, right? That's the problem. They can't bring
Yeah.
anything more to it. Not yet.
All right. Let's switch here. We were talking about Plex and personal stuff, like he was talking about. How much disk space do you need when you do that? You need a lot, right?
Yes.
Well, Seagate last week unveiled the industry's first hard disk drive platform that uses heat assisted media recording, HAMR. The new Mosaic 3 Plus platform relies on several all new technologies, including new media, new write and head heads, and a brand new controller. The platform will be used for Seagate's upcoming Exos hard drives for cloud data center with a 30 terabyte capacity and higher. That'll be
Okay.
nice to have about 4 of them in the.
That'll be nice. The word heat there is concerning. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's getting hot, hot, hot. It's when it writes, it does
I
something.
understand, but like temperature is one of the
Yeah,
most hard to control,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I don't.
something's off there. But
Heat,
hey,
heat
they're
here.
the scientists, right?
Heat assisted magnetic recording is meant to radically increase the area recording density of magnetic media by making writes while the recording region is briefly heated to a point where its magnetic coercivity drops significantly. So they heat it. I don't know what's the point, but it changes the magnetic uh, properties, I guess. It's I mean, it's new technology and it's probably going to
Yeah.
be about 30
I mean,
terabytes
if they
and higher.
proved that this can do with larger capacity and faster capacity,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm all for the ride if it'll work.
I'm sure that's what they're doing because it's for data centers. So we'll wait and see. OpenAI uh, last Thursday announced its first partnership with a higher education institution. Starting in February, Arizona State University will have full access to ChatGPT Enterprise and plans to use it for coursework, tutoring, research, and more.
They
That
kind of need to because they have a teacher hiring problem. All the teachers are leaving, which I don't blame them. So now they're bringing in AI.
that's a good point. That's a
Yeah,
very good point,
the
Katie.
education system
Yeah,
is messed up.
yeah.
Yeah, but if we have kids learning from the robot that is learning from the kids, who's learning from who?
It's gonna be like the Wall-E scene, that Pixar movie where the babies were learning from robots, uh, talking about Earth and stuff.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
Dystopian.
talking about education. In an opinion piece for The Guardian, American journalist and author John R. MacArthur discusses the alarming decline in reading skills among American youth.
Are you
Highlighted,
reading that correctly?
yeah, why?
Is I'm in America's youth.
Highlighted by the Department of Education survey showing significant drops in text comprehension since 2019-2020, with the situation worsening since 2012. While remote learning during the pandemic and other factors like screen based reading are blamed, a new study by Columbia University suggests that reading on paper is more effective for comprehension than reading on screens, a finding not yet widely adopted in digital focused educational approaches. I mean, this is an opinion of this one person, but I don't know.
I don't think reading on paper is any different than reading on screens. I do think
It's easier to get
that,
distracted on the screen.
right, exactly. There's a lot of additional factors to screens. And if you're already using a screen, maybe you can convey the information in a much more effective way than text, right? And that's not utilized well enough.
I mean, there are
I
two.
would really love to see comparison. Let's say for uh, you've heard about a service called Brilliant, like an educational service. It's an app an app and a website. You can uh, there's a
No,
subscription to it. You buy a subscription, and uh, the the topics that are being learned, those can be highly technical math um, and physics ideas and stuff, but it's all taught in a very interactive way, right? And so when you dive in at those who are using these services, you basically get a very high end education very effectively in very short chapters, very short sections with interactivity and way of reviewing and getting back to the right. and those seem to be very effective because you're basically learning by doing a lot, which is a lot more effective than just by reading. I don't think that's anything new, right? There's no I don't think there's any new research about that, but that has been known. When you do something, you learn a lot better than just read about it, right? So I don't know, the fact that reading is declining, I think I think the it's just the distraction is just amassing. There's a lot more distraction.
Very, very possible. There is. It's obvious that there's a lot of distraction, and maybe that's what's hurting. I don't know. Maybe kids just going for all kind of other stuff when they read on the screen, and they get distracted a lot easier. I don't know.
I'll tell you what I did hear about from a professional analysis of how how to um, how to expose kids to screens, right? What we call today screens,
Yeah.
limiting screen time and all that, right? Right now, and it's very unrealistic. Right now, what the psychologists say, uh, that under the age of 12, right, a kid should only have 1 hour of screen time, which sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But more than that, they say, even during that screen time should be with the parent. And that is definitely not happening, right? Even if they do give it just 1 hour of screen time, it's that kid alone with the screen. And that is the part that seems to be the most troubling part. If Because I think even us as kids, you know what, Amnon, I would even include you, even though television came probably at not as a kid age, right?
Not as a
Uh,
kid. Yeah.
right, but still, watching television was a communal event,
Hmm.
right? Was not a singular thing.
Right.
I think the problem is just consuming things alone at a young age. Because when you do that at a young age, then you're not engaged in your surroundings, right? And that is what you're losing.
Well, they're
Uh,
talking about reading. That
right.
was that
And
thing.
reading,
It was about reading.
even reading, if I'm not mistaken, right? If we go to the days where television wasn't abundant, content, it was limited in time and all that, then you look at even reading, right? For kids, you would say, yes, let your kids read, but not too much, right? Don't be a bookworm, right? Even that was so the isolation, I think it's more of a problem than the comprehension.
No.
So they chose to focus on comprehension. Um, it might be an issue, but I don't think that's the main issue.
All right.
Hell, we'll have AI soon summarize things for us,
Yeah,
right?
it'll
Tell
do it.
us what
Yeah.
to read and what to, yeah, like before and after the calculator.
How long ago do you remember IPv6 is coming?
IPv6 came into the world around 2000s, I think.
On February 1st, 2024, AWS will start charging for IPv4 addresses. This will cost 0.005 cents a dollar per hour, around $4 a month. A more accurate title for this post would be Brace Yourself, IPv4 is leaving, because he says, I can't imagine many companies will pay to keep using the IPv4 address. While $4 is relatively small for an individual, my hypothesis is that AWS is a foundational layer to many infrastructure companies like Supabase. We offer a full EC2 instance for every Postgres database. So this would add millions to our AWS bill. Now,
Hold
infrastructure
on, but
companies on AWS have a few choices. pass the cost to the customer, provide a workaround like a proxy, or only offer IPv6 and hope the world will catch up. That's the thing about the world catching up.
Yes.
IPv6 was introduced years and years ago. And they say, oh, there's no more IPv4 addresses and we have to go to IPv6. And every now and then, let's put it this way, the IPv6 traffic on any of our servers at Delta Force is so low. It's mainly IPv4. And there are more and more and more addresses coming up somehow.
Well,
So the world still did not adapt to IPv6.
right, because there was no incentive.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah,
right, yeah, I'm getting what the article says, and yes, maybe it's a push in the right direction. It's still, let's put it this way: Amazon is going to make a killing on this for the first, I would venture and say 5 years at least, right?
possibly, possibly.
But yeah, it is a push in the right direction.
Yep.
This is the push that IPv6 probably was waiting for, right? Like, but keep in mind, we're talking about 20 plus years of IPv6 being around. That 20 years allowed it to get perfected and get good at what it's doing, because at the beginning, if you would have implemented IPv6, it was probably guaranteed that if that's the sole way of you using it, you won't be able to connect to the internet, right?
Correct.
So,
Only
so I
because
think,
there weren't
right,
maybe because there weren't that maybe out there.
right. And keep in mind that back in the 90s, when we started using IPv4,
Yeah.
right, it was already 20 years old.
Right.
So
Right. No,
we're at the
I
same,
agree.
yeah, we're at the same point. And yes, this is the push in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
It still doesn't work perfectly because I see it on Delta Force with email. Many times when people cannot send email, I'm one of them, is when my machine is trying to connect with IPv6 to the server and cannot it cannot send the email. So I have my IPv6 in my network settings in the adapter unchecked. Most people it's everything is working okay, but some it doesn't. And when I have a problem with a customer, I say, okay, go over to the
Right.
adapter settings and just uncheck IPv6. Boom, everything works.
Not only you, Amnon,
I
most
know.
troubleshooting guides that deal with networking first say drop IPv6, see if IPv4 works.
Yeah.
So maybe we're getting close to the tipping point, but I guess there's a few years yet to that tipping point where we'll talk about IPv6 as the prevalent underlying
Right.
infrastructure of the internet and
And
not
maybe
IPv4.
I
and
think
maybe that's why Amazon
if,
is doing it now. They
Yeah,
know that
probably.
hey, we have a chance now. Let's do it now before
Exactly.
it's yeah. What is it, Spence?
oh, so it's a good thing that we can still have our home routers be like, I'm just looking at the configuration on my AT&T gateway.
Mhm.
It's got IPv6.
Oh,
Not
I'm
not
using I
internal, not
yeah,
internally, but out on the broadband
right.
connection. So I don't have anything to worry about as long as it does the translation
I
right.
mean, on the network side, IPv6 is working for me at home great
I don't
because
use it.
it's
Why
right
are you
now.
using it internally?
You are?
No,
No,
I'm asking
why?
you why
Oh,
you are.
I'm for one reason. Updates. I mean, not update. Backups. That was the main reason. Backups, because you cannot get more than one IP from providers anymore. It's one IP.
But okay,
But
so you're not talking about internal. You're talking about a public
wait,
IPv6 address.
wait a second. So a one IP address is one. I mean, public IP address is one IP address.
Sure.
That's it. One IP version 6, when they give it to you, it's a slash. I think I can't remember,
You're
but
muted,
anyway,
Val.
it's a bunch of IPs. Like in the first when we did it, Ron was saying, "Amnon, this is bigger than what you have now is bigger than the internet right now."
Oh, you're
It's
muted.
a whole bunch of IPs that you can use. So in order to do backups, independent of that, it will not interfere with any traffic. Ron had to talk to a server over here that is
Should I
doing what? What was that?
not say anything?
Oh, I thought I heard something. Uh, and he needed another IP to talk to that server here. So I said, "No, let's do it with IPv6," and boom, everything is working. And then the Nagios is working on another IPv6. So coming out of here to the public internet, it's working great.
So
But
you have NAT turned off.
there is no NAT
Yeah.
with
So you don't need it.
IPv6. Right,
Yeah. You don't need it.
right. But you can't use NAT when you're going across the internet. You can use it
Oh, no, I
locally.
understand. That's the whole purpose of
Yeah,
NAT.
right. So,
But
but
that's what IPv4 lasts so much longer is for everybody thought IoT would break the network, right?
Mhm.
With everything in my house is V4 and it's not going to change until I'm forced to,
Yeah.
so
Now, I don't know. I mean, the IoT must be somehow IPv6 if it's talking to the outside world.
Right, but a lot of the devices right now
Actually, no.
that are available, a lot of them are IPv4 only.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Because the
True.
chips are cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at the IPv4 and IPv6 statistics with my router.
Yeah.
And I've got, let's see, that's
Yeah, I don't have any.
80 million packets IPv4
Yeah.
and 1 million packets IPv6.
Yeah, you see, I don't have on my network, I don't have any IPv6 on my machine.
No, this is
It's only
outside. This is going
yeah.
out. So
Well,
this is,
yeah, but I
yeah.
mean, you have to enable it. It's only enabled
Yeah.
on that one server that's connected to
Yeah.
Delta Force. That's all it's for.
I've got I've got kind of a weird networking problem I need to dig into. Since I switched to AT&T,
Mm-hmm.
I have a home web server that I
Right.
run
Mhm.
where I just store. I don't store anything critical on it. It's just things that I might need to access on the go. It's like a little bit of a home archive,
Yeah.
and it's publicly viewable. Since I switched to AT&T, I get hours of so-called downtime through that address.
Wow.
Now, if I go to the IP directly, um, I can get to the web server, but the pretty name right through DNS, it will frequently time out for 8, 12, 16 hours at a time. It's very weird.
And so you are doing port forwarding to it, right?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, like I'm looking at Uptime Robot. It was down for 8 hours and 33 minutes yesterday. Down. But the server was up the entire time. It's weird.
Maybe redo your DNS, the dynamic DNS.
I don't think I've got my AT&T modem correctly set up um with the pass through functionality.
Oh.
I think that's what's causing my issue.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't use it as a pass through. I use it as the
And
AT&T side is
I'm thinking of possibly doing the same thing, just switching over to it full time.
I mean, I was going to use my own router, and you guys talked me out of it. You said, "Oh, the router on the AT&T device is great. Why do you want to do that?" I said, "Okay, fine. I'll stay with that."
It is good. It's just having to set up all the port forwarding and rules and stuff like that again, which is not hard to do. It's just
Yeah.
one of those things.
That's weird though that it's down.
Yeah, it's not you can't get to it from the pretty
Huh.
address, but you can
Yeah.
punch in the IP address and you can get to it.
Which is ridiculous because that's all the dynamic DNS does.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. It's very, very odd.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's
All
just a
right.
routing issue here. Because, like, for example, I can't access my gateway.
Right now?
No,
Oh. Oh, you mean from outside?
no, from inside
Yes, then
because of
yeah.
how the routing is set up. The devices both have the devices are both on the same subnet.
Yeah.
So my router doesn't see a device on the other side of it with that same subnet because it's trying to do the routing internally. So I've got
I
some
cannot
stuff
help
I've got
you
to
with
work
that.
on.
Yeah.
Not a high priority though.
All right. Beeper.
Uh oh.
The Apple versus Beeper saga is not over yet, it seems. Even though the iMessage on Android Beeper Mini was removed from the Play Store last week. Now, Apple customers who use the Beeper apps are reporting that they've been banned from using iMessage on their Macs.
Oh shit.
Wow.
A move Apple may have taken to disable Beeper's app from working properly, but ultimately penalized its own customers for daring to try a non Apple solution for accessing iMessage. That's an opinion. The latest follows a contentious game of cat and mouse between Apple and Beeper, which Apple ultimately won. According to users, recounting of their tech support experiences with Apple, the support reps are telling them their computer has been flagged for spam or for sending too many messages. That's what they've been told. That's why you have a problem. Suddenly. Even though that's not the case. This has led many Beeper users to believe this is how Apple is flagging them for removal from the iMessage network. One Beeper customer advised other facing this problem to ask Apple if their Mac was in a throttled status or if their Apple ID was blocked for spam to get to the root of the issue, admitting upfront that third party software was to blame would sometimes result in the support rep being able to lift the ban, some noted. So it seems like that since these Mac users used Beeper, even though now they can't anyway, they're being penalized. So th- if this is true that Apple is doing it, boy oh boy oh boy. Can you imagine what's going to happen? Are
Wha-
you reading about it, Gal?
Um, no,
Okay.
that
All right.
didn't catch up yet.
Okay. That's fine. That's all right.
I know of it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like when they started, they didn't start with Apple's blessing, right?
Right.
And so um, the fact that they started as a paid service with this angle, I think that was a bad move. I love their product.
Hmm.
I think what they created is amazing. I think they needed to figure out a way of how to monetize on what they've already created. And taking this approach is probably it's this might be their downfall if
Oh, I hope
they
not.
don't pivot.
Yeah.
I hope not, but yeah, it feels that way. Like they took a wrong turn here for sure.
Well,
the iMessage bridge functionality still works fine.
Not for me. I do not
Works-
own a Mac. I do not own an iPhone. So there is
Correct.
nothing in my IDs, right, that I can use. And I've only been connected via an email address, right? So theoretically,
Yeah.
that should have been okay. But because of what they did, right? Now, understand the blocking is not beepers doing, it's a reaction. This is a Hamas Israel thing. The blocking isn't beepers doing, right? It's a reaction to that. But there's something really problematic about this. Beeper is trying to get a stronghold on something that is designed to keep it out, right? Keep it out of the fence. So there's retaliation. Um, that's why I'm saying it might be their downfall, because if they cannot, if they try to sell themselves as the only one who are capable of doing this, the first thing that they're coming out with, and it fails, how will the next step look, right? And that's the problem. Perception. It's always perception.
Yeah.
So so when I said the bridge is still working, I'm talking about so I have an iPhone, and Beeper before all of this stuff over the last couple of weeks, they've allowed you to set up an iMessage bridge through the Beeper app that will connect with iMessage through what is a Mac that you're logging into a Mac Mini is what it says, to do that, and that has still been working on my end, at least as of right now.
Right. And mine stopped working, and I cannot. It asks me for like an ID code. I cannot generate that ID code because I do not have a Mac or an
An
iOS device.
iPhone,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I can probably ask you for a code, but then I don't know how it's going to affect you, right?
It will. I'll have your
Because
access
that's
to your iMessage on my phone.
no, not necessarily. So read about it. It's the code is some underlying technology based message. Basically, it's not even part of the authentication process. It's just Apple's way of identifying that this code is a genuine Apple, right? Because eventually what they're doing for me is running some sort of virtualized machine, right? That identifies itself as an iOS device, and through that, it handles the protocol. So, um, I mean, you read their instructions is if you know somebody with an iPad, you can get that code, right? And they will not have access to your message. So, yes, but no, thank you. I do not want to. It's like, let's ask my neighbor for their tax ID for my
Yeah.
tax filing,
Yeah.
right? It feels like something like that. It's like something that eventually will backfire. So if you do not own it, don't use it. In your case, you own an iPhone, so it works. Yes,
Mhm.
excellent and fantastic. Now you can use messaging on your PC over iOS, iMessage. That's awesome. But for somebody who doesn't own an Apple device, yeah, I'm out of I'm out of it, and I won't pay for it for sure.
And maybe they'll find a way to stop you from doing that too. I don't know. It seems like they're
Uh, Look, if you own an Apple device, right, there is no harm of using the iMessage protocol outside of it. I do not think that Apple will chase these users. If they do, they'll maybe finally they'll annihilate these users that they've been abusing all of these years, right?
well,
Because that's the way I see how the company works. But it's
they're
and don't get me wrong, every single brand is abusing the trust its users put in it, right?
right.
That's why I
That's all.
tend not to go with any brand. I tend to go with the systems, with what I can control, with what I like. So yeah, I was raving about Beeper when they did it right, and now they did something wrong. for sure, right? And I hope they can course correct,
Work it out.
but I'm not sure that that will help them.
We'll see. Talking about Apple, Apple is preparing to split the App Store in two in the coming weeks ahead of European Union requirements that will force Apple to enable app sideloading in the region. This is coming from Bloomberg. So now they're going to allow people in the EU to sideload, to have apps that will allow it to, and they're going to, I don't understand how they're going to do it. They're going to have duplicate uh, programs, apps on both stores that one will allow you to do side loading and one will not. It makes, this is just their way of saying, okay, yeah, if you're in the EU, you can do it. Here's the app store for you.
Well, I think what will happen is we'll see more and more Americans
Mhm.
buy EU activated phones, like
Yeah,
internationally unlocked phones from EU.
yeah,
I don't know.
possible,
I don't
possible.
know if it'll be over like I don't think it's going to be a huge surge of that,
No, no.
but we did see it when you couldn't buy an unlocked phone in the US, right? People would buy
Yep.
them
Uh,
through Korea, or
yeah.
importers would bring it from the Far East
Yep.
and we'll sell them over here. So it'll happen again.
There's a bunch of things about Apple this week. Here's another one. U.S. Court of Appeal says Apple will again be barred from selling the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 beginning last Thursday. These models both contain a blood oxygen sensor. Yeah, we went through that. So they stopped them. Then they said, yeah, you can sell it. Now the again court saying, no, you can't sell. And another thing, Nick, I don't know if you guys talked about it. I don't remember. Fortnite maker Epic Games is not happy about how Apple intends to comply with a district court's injunction that permitted app developers to direct users to their own website and payment platforms. A court order that came into effect following the Supreme Court decision to not hear the Apple antitrust case, leaving the current ruling to stand. Though Apple had largely won the case, as the court decided it was not a monopolist, a judge ruled that app makers should be able to steer their customers to a web from links or buttons inside their apps, something that forced Apple's to change its App Store rules. But Apple's compliance doesn't give app makers the victory they had hoped, as the tech giant aims to still charge commissions on purchases made outside the apps, a decision Epic aims to challenge in court. So it's like they found a way around it, or they found a different way to charge for it, and now it has to go to court again. Uh, I don't know why Apple always leaves bitter taste in my mouth.
Well, do remember that Apple is no different than any of the other brands in that case. And the reason we are hearing a lot of Apple, right, is
Yeah,
because they are so uh, uh, they are such a major player in the market that we are using, right? So I don't know if we'll find, let's say, as much information about other players like I don't know, smaller players like OnePlus or maybe even LG, right? But the reason we are always hearing bad about Apple is because
it's
they're the
yeah.
biggest player, and so that's why it's interesting. But I agree with you. There's no difference in the way Apple is doing it and the others. And these, let's praise the courts and hope that they do the right thing. That's
Yeah.
all.
Sure, they will.
Sometimes they do.
And
Sometimes they surprise us, and there's a court ruling that actually works,
we'll see.
like in the EU.
Remember, we were talking about Chrome incognito mode that they can still read and get information. So
Okay.
Google is updating the warning on Chrome incognito mode to make it clear that Google and websites run by other companies can still collect your data in a web browser semi private mode.
Of course.
So incognito is nothing.
Well, it is. It is. A web if you're collecting cookies on me and I go to your site in an incognito browser, you don't have a profile on. So I mean that's what it's doing. It's not a VPN, it's not obscuring your identity, it's not hiding your location and things like that. It's simply
A new browser.
it's essentially a new browser. Yeah. So now if you constantly use incognito on the same site, if you keep it open
Okay,
for long
then
periods of time, it will build a profile on it,
all
just
right.
like anything else.
Or if you log in through an incognito, you actually log in, right?
Mhm.
Then everything is connected to that login anyway. It has nothing to do with the browser.
That's true as well.
All right. And Spence was talking about IoT. An LG washing machine owner discovered that his smart home appliance was uploading an average of 3.66 gigabytes of data daily.
I saw this.
Concern,
Wow.
concern about the washer's internet addiction, Johnny forced the device to go cold turkey and blocked it using his router UI. This is coming
Yeah,
from Tom's
that you could do.
Hardware.
Yeah.
Huh?
So that I guess you could do. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny's initial screenshot showed that on a chosen day, the device uploaded 3.57 gigabyte of and downloaded about 100 megabytes, and the data traffic was almost constant. Meanwhile, according to the ASUS router interface screenshot, the washing machine accounted for just shy of 5% of Johnny's internet traffic daily. 5%. That's
It
a
was checking
bunch.
on the latest developments in detergent.
The LG washing machine owner saw the fun in his predicament and joked that the device might use Wi-Fi for downloadable laundry cycles. He wasn't entirely kidding. The machine does download presets for various types of apparel. However, the lion's share of the data transferred was uploaded. And how many different cycles can you download? I mean, I would imagine you download it and you store it. So it's interesting the traffic here from devices. Like, so what does the smart refrigerator does? Does it keeps downloading what you need and uploading to the store? I mean, it is look, 3.6 gigabytes is a lot of data.
It's because the Davos folks require now that washing machines be connected so they can remotely adjust your wash cycle. Because if they detect that if you're washing too many clothes based on how many people live in your house, they're going to shut off your washing machine.
Yeah.
It's like the new shut off protocols that all cars have
Yep.
now. They can connect to the car and turn it off.
So YouTube is again in the news. The YouTube recently started slowing down its entire site whenever ad blockers are used. A new wave of slowdowns is hitting users. with the only resolution being disabling the ad blocker or upgrading to premium. To combat the increasing frequency of ads on YouTube, people have employed the use of ad blockers for years. According to YouTube, that method of avoiding ads is deemed a violation of the terms of service. Of course, video ads are a huge source of income for the service, and the only way to avoid them without the use of third-party application is to pay YouTube directly for premium. Now, you can still skip after 5 seconds the pre ads. And if you're logged in, I find out that if I'm logged into YouTube and I play videos, there's nothing in the middle. But if I'm not logged into YouTube, then every so often it'll stop, it'll show you a commercial and then continue where it was. What am I
You're
missing
talking
here?
about computer, or you're talking
Computer.
about?
Computer.
Okay, so on your computer, you're using an ad blocker. Is that correct?
I am not sure. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So on a computer, keep on using an ad blocker for now. These still block ads on YouTube,
Oh, so
right?
it's the
Yeah.
mobile stuff. Okay.
In mobile, that's harder to do. It's still possible to a certain degree. That's harder to do, but I mean, the reason I don't experience this on mobile is because I pay for mobile. I pay for Amazon Music, YouTube Music,
Uh-huh.
right? And so, well, with the premium aspect of YouTube, I pay about $20-something a month for a family account. So that covers 5 accounts, right?
Okay.
So us three and my parents back home,
Okay.
they don't need to experience the ads because of that. And I can tell you, I mean, I don't use YouTube that much, but I do use them enough, right? On the phone. There's some podcasts that I listen through YouTube, and
Okay.
um,
All right.
and that covers me. And because I like the music service, right? What works for me.
Okay. All right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
On
Gotcha.
the computer, though, I'm not logged in most of the time
Yeah,
because I use Firefox containers, right? And so every session is a new session.
right. Yeah, I have to log
But
in.
I can switch to the logged in session. I have one container that is specific for YouTube logged in. So if I want, to add something for a playlist to see later or something like that. So
It takes seconds to log in, and that's
exactly.
it. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I didn't think about that. Good point. Well, it's getting no. I guess yeah, it's getting that time of day. Windows 11. Microsoft is getting ready to place Teams meeting reminders on the Start menu in Windows 11. They started testing a new build of Windows 11 with dev channel testers that include a team meeting reminders in the recommended section of the Start menu. So I guess that's nice. The reminder is always nice. Um, I use the reminders from IFTTT. I know reminders are, important, especially when you get to a certain age too.
It's not even an age. I started and I didn't even know Google offered this. Does anybody use Google Tasks?
Never heard of it.
No, I know of it, but
Never
I'm
heard
not
of it.
using it.
It's like a to-do list that's built into Google, whether it be Gmail or Google Calendar. And I've been using that. I started using it last week. Now it's not for recurring reminders like what Amnon's describing. You can do those with calendar events pretty easily. But It's a pretty nice. I was looking at the various, to-do list and various things for that. I used Trello for a little while, but that was kind of a pain. So yeah, Google Tasks.
I have used it, but I fell back to using just the few recurring reminders that I need. I have in the calendar.
Yeah. And
So,
I still have those. I'm using this for, like, I got to submit a report to the state sometime this week for a campaign
my
finance thing.
main reminder list is a little mini spiral notebook homework pad. That's what I keep in my pocket. So
That's what I
write stuff
used to
down.
Nick, are you?
But as I was going all over the place, it ended up getting, I'd leave it somewhere and then I would forget to write anything down. It was so yeah, Google
Are-
Tasks if you're looking for something, and there's a free mobile app for it as well that works pretty well.
Are you going to be on the show next week?
I'm not sure yet. I'm going to be in
Okay.
Raleigh
It'll be
Friday and
interesting.
Saturday.
Oh, okay. So we'll talk, but I would like to actually I would like for you to actually show it and maybe help some people how to. Not now.
Yeah, no, definitely not
In
now.
the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll look at it in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Just remind me.
All right.
Or do I need to set myself a reminder to do that? Let's do that. Add a task.
Well, you should add to the
Show-
you should add a reminder in the calendar to remind you to put something on the tasks app.
Show Google Tasks on C2K. Okay. It's
Yeah.
in my task list now.
Nice.
I'll load the. I haven't been using the app. I was just using it on my PC, but I will. I'll put the app on. I'll try it.
Yeah, now I will note there is one thing, and I'll post the link to it in the chat. There is not a static website for Google Tasks. It's an iPhone app, but you can get to it by bookmarking that URL through Google Calendar, and that's how I'm interfacing with
Yeah,
it. It's built into the Gmail sidebar, which is fine, but I don't use the Gmail web client, so
Mhm.
that's how I'm
I
accessing.
do. So
Okay, well then there you go.
Yeah.
Then it would be built right
yeah,
in for you.
it's built into it.
Yeah.
But I'll try the app.
Yeah, app works really well.
Good. Yeah,
So
and
there you
maybe
go.
maybe I'll be able to save. Oh, but it sends you an email.
No, it sends up a push notification on your phone.
Okay.
You could do Google Calendar will send you email reminders.
Well, I like to get a phone call. This is because
Well, I know you're a little old
I
school
don't.
with that.
Yeah, sometimes you don't pay attention to the emails. Say yeah, I'll give it another 5 minutes or whatever, and you
Yeah.
forget or something. Yeah, a call, bam. All right. Well, that's it for today then. Anything else anybody wants to add? Going
Nah.
once?
I'll be at
Good.
the Carolina Liberty Conference Friday and Saturday in Raleigh. So if you're going, I'll be there.
So you gonna come stay with us, or you're set up?
No, since I'm working it Friday, work's covering
All right.
hotels.
Okay.
I'll try and swing by though. I'll let you know.
All right.
You're staying at the Journey's End Hotel on by the fairgrounds.
No, I have to book a hotel. That is
Don't
actually
stay
on
there.
my task list.
I think it's gone now. I think they bulldozed it. It was this really creepy. You know how it go when you go up downtown from into Raleigh, it splits into northbound and southbound.
Mhm.
It was in the middle, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
right where and it was terrible. Oh, it was a terrible place.
All right. Okay.
Goodbye.
Take care. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Gal, Nick, Spence, Katie Beatty, and good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and listen to him live. Or later on, you can go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Nick and Brian also do a weekly gaming and survival games, gaming news with a little bit of political points here and there, called Infection Podcast. You just go to infectionpodcast.com to find out when is it live, and other than that, you can just go to infectionpodcast.com and go to the recorded show. So have a great week. Stay warm, and we'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.